Take two. Hello, consistent and predictable income community. My name is Dan Roshan, and thank you so much for joining me today. It is my honor to be able to welcome you to the 5-day listing challenge, how to take listings in today's market without having a cold call, door knock, or beg for business. I want to again welcome everybody here. I'm going to invite for you, if you're attending this live, to go ahead and put yourself on. I had to turn something off of there in my background. Sorry for that. If you are attending this live and if you are here joining us, I'm going to invite for you to turn on your video, because when you turn on your video and when you participate, it's already proven that you will make more money. Who here wants to make more money this year? Raise your hand. Woo, yeah. I got some. Oh, wait. There's some people I did not see your hands up. Do you know why I didn't see your hands up? Because your screens weren't on. So I'm going to invite for you to go ahead and turn your videos on. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. I promise you that when you participate, when you have your videos on, I promise you, you will make more money. So as I'm talking, I want you to type into the chat where you're located so that we can send you referrals. And I want you to type into the chat, what is your listing goal for 2022? How many listings would you want to take for 2022? And before you answer that question, first of all, if you already answered that question, and that tells me that you're a go-getter, that tells me that you're somebody that takes action. So I'm going to give you a chance to reflect on your answer. Before you say how many listings you want to take for 2022, I'm going to invite for you to think, to put that word how to the side, and let's not worry about the word how, and let's just say how many listings will I take if I didn't have to worry about how. You're going to learn how, by the way, over the next 5 days. Who am I? My name is Dan Roshan. I'll be your host over the next 5 days. I'll be your coach. I'll be your mentor and your guide. A little bit about me. I've been selling homes since 2007. I got my license in November 2007. And for the first 6 months of my career, guess how many sales I made for the first 6 months? Someone yell that out. How many sales do you think I made in my first 6 months? Coral, what, Mindy, stop. Coral, what was that you said? You are mean. Coral is a mean woman, and she's correct. I sold 0. So just like many in our industry, I struggled during my first 6 months. I didn't know how to take listings. I didn't know how to work with buyers. We're not going to be talking a lot about how to work with buyers during this challenge, but I didn't really know anything. Yet I was able to, after 6 months, I was able to figure it out. And the way that I figured it out was I was frustrated about 4 months into the journey, and I was getting ready to quit. I remember I went and knocked on my broker Karen's door, and Karen looked up at me. She was going through all these contracts. It's back when the brokers actually had paper contracts to review. Today, of course, it's DocuSign, .loop. And so Karen was going through those. I knocked on her door and I was like, hey, Karen, could you talk? And she was like a little bit annoyed with me. I don't know if you've ever approached your broker and they were a little bit annoyed with you. And she says, yeah, come on in. And I said, Karen, I'm about to quit. Well, that got her attention. She's like, Dan, just keep doing what you're doing. And I remember this was 4 months in, 0 money. And I was like, what do you mean keep doing what I'm doing? If I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm going to freaking go broke. Well, on that day, Karen and I devised a plan that we took a look at my way of doing business, which is what we're going to do with you over these next 5 days. We're going to find your way to find business. And 2 months after that conversation with Karen, I had my first closing, April of 2008. April of 2009, between that 12-month period, this was 18 months after I got my real estate license, I had so much success, I bought the brokerage that I worked for. I owned that brokerage for the next 10 years. I sold it at the end of November of 2018. I wrote the book, Real Estate Evolution. Does anybody have this book? Anybody here ever read this book? Mindy says yes. Gabby says no. Gabby, Maybe you'll win yourself a copy of this. We'll talk more about that here in a second. And I opened up a coaching platform, but none of that really matters. What matters is what my goal is for you and what you're going to get out of this next 5 days. So what I'm going to give to you over the next 5 days is the tactics and the step-by-step approach on how to implement those tactics that, again, works for you, doing this your way. Because what I often hear, and maybe you've heard of this as well, I often hear real estate coaches and gurus go out there and say, do this, do that, go and post videos, go knock on doors, go do FSBOs, go do expired listings, go host networking events. And they tell you all these ways to do it. And those ways work, but they may not work for you. So what my goal today is to help you, and today and over the next 5 days, is to help you to discover your way. My request of you over the next 5 days is that you commit to fully participating. I'm going to give you some exercises, some daily missions. And this is a program that's designed to do it together. It's not a program that's designed to say, well, I'm going to get the knowledge, and then on Friday or 5 days from now, whenever that is, if you're watching this in demand, that 5 days from now, then I'm going to take action. That's not the way this program is designed. This program is designed to be able to help you discover your way and take listings so that you have closings every single month of your career, which means that you could obtain the financial goals that you're seeking, that you could obtain that significance that may be meaningful to you, that you could be proud to be a businesswoman or a businessman, a salesperson, and you can have others rely on you, and you can rely on you. My most important commitment this week is that at the end of the 5 days is that you will have 100% faith in yourself that you could do this business at a high level and that you can have closings every single month of your career. Just like I've had closings every single month of my career since April of 2008, I have not missed a single month of sales personally. On average, 10 sales a month. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to have a high volume of business, but I'm more faithful. I'm more grateful to know that there hasn't been a single month that I've been scratching my head about how am I going to pay my bills, at least not since the very early on. I'm going to also ask for you to trust me over the next 5 days. That may be blind trust. I'm okay with that. It may be absolute trust. I'd be grateful for that. I know that trust is a word that may mean different things to different people, to each of you. I was teaching this class about 2 months ago, and a student afterwards, and I asked for them to trust me. And she pulled me aside. She said, Dan, how can I trust you? I said, well, tell me more about that. She's like, well, trust is a deep, meaningful word for me. And it allowed for me to have an awareness that when I'm asking you to trust me, it doesn't mean that I'm asking you to marry me. In fact, my wife would probably be a little bit upset with me if I said that, right? I'm not asking for a commitment from you. I'm just asking for a trust so that you have a faith in yourself. It's not about me. It's about you. You are the hero of the journey. And I want you to trust me to be your guide through that journey. So in exchange, I'm going to show you exactly how to take a listing. I'm going to show you exactly how to have business every single month of your career. Now, who is this class for? This class is for real estate agents that are looking to have business every single month of your career. This class is for agents who prefer to be listing agents, who understand that when you have listings, you control the market. Let me ask you guys a question. Are there more listings than buyers? What do you think? The answer to that is no. There's exactly the same amount of listings as there are buyers. Because for every single listing that's sold, there's one buyer that buys that property. So there's just as many buyers as there are listings. So if listings are the name of the game, then what I'm going to encourage for you to do is to focus on getting the listings. Because having 10 closings a month would be really, really tough for me to do if I was working with more buyers. It's really relatively, I want to say easy, but it's possible for all of us when the majority of those 10 are listings. Would you guys all agree with that? Can you see how that makes sense? Yes. All right, fantastic. We're all in the same place. So I mentioned to you before that once upon a time I had owned a real estate brokerage, and when I owned that brokerage, I'm looking for my crayon here. All right, I can't find my crayon. Oh, there it is. When I owned that brokerage, we had this system called Broker Metrics. Has anybody here heard of Broker Metrics before? All right, a couple of you have. Most agents haven't heard about that because that's a tool that a lot of the brokers use. A lot of like owners of brokerages, mostly for real estate agents, is something that's sort of like unseen from us because it's not a tool that we really could use. But what Broker Metrics does is it takes and it breaks down every single real estate agent's business, and it shows brokers what your business has been like. It shows brokers, have you done more listings? Have you done more sales? And it shows them exactly the trends of your business. And when I was in that role as a broker owner, I would research my local marketplace. And what I found was that there was one of 3 agents in the marketplace. And you are very likely one of those 3 agents right now. The first agent was agents that didn't do a lot of production, almost none. This included new agents. That doesn't mean that a new agent won't eventually do lots of business. We were all a new agent, or maybe you are a new agent right now, but every single agent was a new agent for a second. The next was what I would call the seasoned agent. I'm going to diagram that here for you in a second. And the last of the 3 agents in the marketplace that we would observe was a top producing agent. The top producing agent, do you know what their biggest challenge was? Anybody want to guess what the biggest challenge of a top producing agent is? Who wants to guess? Shout it out if you'd like.
Time.
Boom. Time. Who was that?
Don Mowry.
Hey, Don, how are you? Nice to see you. That is correct. Don, are you a top producing agent?
I don't know. I do about 100 sites a year.
Spoken like someone who I already knew the answer to that question, Don. So congratulations for your success. And did you also notice Don's humbleness in that? So I want to acknowledge Don for your humble confidence.
It's pain. It's just what it is.
But my man said time. I already knew he was a top producer because he knew the answer right there. The biggest challenge of that top producer is, just like Don, time. Well, the way to get to that is through having high leverage. We'll touch on that a little bit through this class, but mostly we're talking to the seasoned agent. So on this graph here, and if you put me on the, instead of the grid view, the speaker view, you'll be able to see this easier. And this right here would represent a year. And this is a common year of a seasoned real estate agent's business. It looks something like this. So in February, maybe we have a closing. Nothing in January, nothing in March, nothing in April. May, congratulations, 2 closings. Nothing in June. Congratulations, 1 in July. Nothing in August, nothing in September. All right, we got 2 in October, nothing in November, and we finish off the year with 1 in December. This is a common trend of a real estate agent's business. It's what most businesses look like. Not Don's business, not the top producer's businesses, but most 80% of a real estate agent's business looks like this. Can anybody here relate to that?
Well, even the top producer.
Even the top producer can relate to that.
Top producer, we're normally closing 8 to 10 a month. I mean, this month we're only going to close 4. So even though or closing deals, the linear equation is still the same.
That is true. That is true. And so this is a common agent's business. Well, what causes that to be a common agent's business? We know what the typical answer to that question is going to be. So typically, when an instructor asks you to answer that question, the answer to that is going to be lead generation. I'm going to take it a step further. So yes, that is the correct answer, lead generation. Yet, if you take that a step further, it's that we haven't been able to relate to what works for us. Because the lead generation piece would exist if you resonated with it. If it was something that you had passion to do every single day, and every single morning you woke up and you're like, boom, yeah, let's do that. And if that equation right there gets answered, the second equation of lead generating every single day, 1 to 3 hours a day, now my business looks like this. And if I have those peaks and valleys, which you will, those peaks and valleys look like this. Not zeros. Those peaks and valleys look like 8 or 10, and now my down month is 4. So if your down month is 4, and that's the worst month that you have, could you say that you've achieved some sort of stability? Would you guys all agree to that? Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Put your yeses in the chat. So if you can all agree, if we can all agree that our down months are 4, that's our 2 or 3 down months right there. Boom, we're okay. So that's what we're going to be talking about. It's not about, I'm not going to sit here and say lead generate every single day. Well, I will, but that's not the key. The key is, what is your way to lead generate? And that's what we're going to discover this week. So who is this class not for? This class is not for wannabes. It is not for excuse makers, and it's not for victims. It is for people who want to do better. It is for people that are looking for certainty, for consistent and predictable income in your business. That's who this class is for. What will you get? You're going to get through this class, you're going to get an opportunity to find your way. You're going to get step-by-step instruction, and you're going to get a plan to have closings every single month. You're going to have clarity. You're going to know how to find the listings so that you can achieve the success that you're destined to achieve. So I want to go back to my whiteboard behind me, and I'm going to go into the 3 tactics that we're going to learn this week. And I'm going to share with you how you're going to learn these tactics. So the overview of the class is that we're going to go live 45 minutes every single day. When we go live, it's going to be very high level. It's going to be strategy. Then I'm going to invite you. You're going to get an email at the end of this class that's going to invite you into a coaching portal, the CPI coaching portal, consistent predictable income. When you enter into the CPI coaching portal, you will have the choice to select one of 3 tactics. So here's the 3 tactics that you'll have a choice to choose from. Number 1, for sale by owner. Don't freak out yet. Remember, the name of the class is no cold calling, no door knocking, and no begging. So if you want to puke when I say FSBO because it freaks you out, don't worry. Let me get there first before you really reject it. All right. The other one is open house. Yeah, I already know the 2 objections from the open house. Number 1 is I have no listings. How can I do an open house? I promise you that somebody in your brokerage right now has a listing and they need somebody to host the open house for them. I guarantee you there's that listing agent in your brokerage. In fact, in my brokerage, I am so grateful when agents ask me, hey, Dan, can I host your open house? Yes, you can. So there are open houses within your brokerage. If you don't have access to those listing agents, go talk to your broker. That's going to be a part of one of your homeworks if you choose the open house tactic. The other objection that you may be thinking right now is, well, but open houses get me buyers, not sellers. Well, let me ask you a question. Somebody who's going to go and buy a home, where are they moving from? They're moving from somewhere. And unless if it's their parents' house, it's either going to be a rental or a sale. So those sales is the opportunity to be able to get the listings. Those neighbors, the nosy neighbors, who sometimes as agents we reject, those nosy neighbors are the best visitor of your open house, by the way. We'll go deep into that later. The third tactic that we're going to go through is what we call the Facebook lead generator. Sorry for my sloppiness there. Facebook ads, Facebook lead generator. Now, again, the Facebook lead generator, you're searching for buyers. So how do you get a listing from a Facebook ad? And day number 3 of this class in your training portal, you will observe, and this is going to be your daily mission for everybody, no matter what tactic you choose. You will observe me in a 9-minute conversation convert a buyer from a Facebook lead who originally says to me, I say, hey, it's Dan Roshan. I see that you were looking for some homes online, and I was calling just to see if I may be able to help you. Are you looking to buy a home? No. From that entry point to identifying that she's a buyer and a seller. Okay. From a no to a, oh, wait, you're a buyer. And about 4 minutes later, oh, wait, you're a seller. And you'll see me demonstrate that to you live right here, standing right here. It was not live because I recorded it already during one of my lead generation strategies sessions. And so you'll see for all of these sessions how to convert a lead that's cold plus warm. And you'll see how the Facebook lead generator strategy works to be able to generate sellers, to be able to generate listings. So I want you guys to take out a pen and a paper if you could. And I want to write down, I'm going to map this out for you because this, again, this is a strategic type thing. Okay. And this is the strategy behind how to get where you need to go. Okay. Before I map this out, I just want to go back real quick to those 3 strategies, the three tactics I gave you. So to remind you, that was the for sale by owner, the Facebook lead generator, or the open house. If you are somebody who's warm and fuzzy, who people love on, who lights up a room when you come into it, I'm going to ask for you to choose the open house strategy. If you're somebody who is comfortable with technology, willing to invest a small amount of money, and willing to consistently follow up, I'm going to ask for you to choose the Facebook lead generator strategy for your tactic. If you're somebody who's ready to rock and roll today, I'm going to introduce you to the for sale by owner tactic. Well, remember, no cold calling. So how am I going to get you to an appointment for a for sale by owner without cold calling? You're going to text. I didn't say no texting. Go look in the fine print. It said no cold calling. Nothing about no texting. But I'm going to teach you how to do that in a way that you're going to be comfortable and confident that you can do this. So, piece of paper and a pen, please. I want you to map out a little stair step. And again, if you're watching me on the speaker view, it's going to be better than if you're watching me on the grid view. And so I want you at the bottom of your stairs, I want you to write a little stick person. That stick person is whoever it is that's that's either you perhaps, or it's a prospective client, or it's a client. And then on the top of the stair step, I want you to write down the word result. Now, we're going to look at this from your perspective right now. From your perspective through this class, what result do you want to get? Would it be true that at the end of these 5 days, you want to get the result to at least know how to take a listing, if not take a listing? Would that be true? Would everybody say yes to that? Would that be a result that would be worthy? Fantastic. So then here's where you're starting. And here's the result that you want to get. And so what you're going to learn through this process is you're going to learn to be able to understand that there is a strategy. There is a way of doing this that takes baby steps and compounds as you walk up those stairs towards your result. What does not work, and I love that. Yes, 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 yes. I love all those yeses to this is what we want this week to take in listings. What doesn't work, and where most agents sort of mess this up, what doesn't work is to go from here to here, from here to here without taking the steps. Okay, so we're going to take these three things: for sale by owner, open house, and Facebook. And will we go on a listing appointment on day one? Probably no. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down the steps of each different step of what you have to do to get the result. I will use, for example, I will use the for sale by owner tactic. Now, regardless of what tactic that you're choosing, I want you to pay attention to this, because what I'm intending to teach you right now is not necessarily the steps of the tactic. You'll get that on the online portal. What I'm intending to teach you right now is the process of how to think so that you can position yourself to have a greater success. Is that fair? You guys okay with that? And the way that I want you to think is simply, what is the next step? So I'm going to go through the for sale by owner, but before I do that, I'll use a different scenario. I'll use a buyer scenario. Let's say that you got a lead online. Let's say it's a Zillow lead. I was about to boo and hiss, but I will refrain from booing and hissing. Mr. and Mrs. Zillow, I did not boo and hiss at you. Okay. Anyways, let's say it's a Zillow lead, or let's say it's just an online lead and you have the email address. What's the next step that you want to have? You only have the email address. What's the next thing you want? What's the next step? Here's where you are. Email. Someone shout it out.
I want to try to get their phone number if possible.
Bam, there it is. Phone number. What most people say, all right, well, I want, all right. So you get the phone number. What's the next thing? What's the next step you want to take?
Well, you want to reach out to them and try to get them to engage in something, whether it's a respond, you want them to respond in some manner, whether it's looking at a listing you sent them or opening an email or reading a text message. I would imagine, want some response.
Okay. I'm going to count that as conversation. So now response would qualify for conversation. So now we have a conversation. What's the next step that you want to bring them through?
I would want to figure out, are they an actual buyer or seller, and do they have the need, desire, want, and the ability to?
Well, Don, I'm so grateful you're here. I'm going to pay you 10% of the proceeds from the investment of the class. 10% of what people pay for this class is yours, Don.
That's right.
My man said qualify. Right? I'll keep it out, man. Keep it out, Don. You're right with me. I'm loving you, man. I'm loving you. All right. So what Don said, the next step is to qualify, right? So specifically, if it's a buyer, you're qualifying for means and you're qualifying for motivation. Now, the reality of this is it's real easy to get an online lead that has motivation. If anybody's ever done this tactic, you'll understand what I mean by this. But what's really a little bit hard is, yeah, I want to buy a home, but I'm applying for my Social Security next month and maybe I'll get it. And I haven't, my credit score is 472, right? So they're not necessarily qualified.
Right.
Okay, so they don't necessarily have the means. So again, I want you guys to focus on just the steps, just the process of thinking, okay? Whether this appeals to you or not, I'm hoping to teach you how to think, because this process applies to every single other step in your business. You guys okay with that? Give me a thumbs up. You guys good with that? Yes, 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 yes. Okay. All right, fantastic. So we want to qualify them. Now, what's the next step we want to do? Let's assume they are qualified.
Set an appointment.
Set an appointment. Now, what's the next thing we want to do? Maybe set the expectations.
You want to set the appointment first, or set the appointment then set expectations?
Yeah, I already gave you to set the appointment, so then I went to set expectations to clean it up. But Don is right. You probably want to set the expectations. It's sort of an all-in-one package, right? So you're setting the expectations from the first conversation until all the way up at the closing. You're setting expectations. So that's something that you're setting the entire time. But you notice, who here noticed? Guess what? I want to make sure you guys got this. Don, have you and I ever met before?
No.
Okay. What marketplace you in?
The Inland Empire, Southern California, like Upland, Rancho Cucamonga, Ontario.
Okay. Top producer Don comes to this class, and I'm asking these questions. And look, he and I are aligned. We've never met ever before. And within a few ounces, right, maybe a little bit of a different flavor where Don may say this, but it's basically Dan saying this. Don is saying what the next step is. So what I want you to notice is the way to think gets you 100 transactions. You guys follow me on that? So just notice that a top producer who I've never met, I asked the question, they're like, yep, okay. He never said, down here, I got the email when I'm looking for the appointment. I'm looking to sell the home. I'm looking to go to closing. Okay, so I want you to take and I want you to condense the steps into baby steps. You guys all right with that? Yes, 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 yes. All right, fantastic. All right, so now let's talk about for sale by owner. So how are we going? I'll just erase it all. All right, so how are we going to do this with a for sale by owner? So remember, there's going to be 3 tactics that you're going to do. And here's a little stick guy down here. And remember, you're looking for what is the next step? 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 Well, with a for sale by owner, what I see most agents do is go into the appointment and solicit the listing. Well, that is the result that you're looking for. But just like what Don was going through, he's not asking to get hired until he's actually qualified them. He's not asking to get hired until he set their expectations and understood what are their expectations, what are their needs, what are their means, what's important to them. What's important about that? Taking a step back. So when you're implementing these tactics this week, understand what is the next step. So for sale by owner, for example, you go on that appointment that you're going to learn how to set, and you will go on an appointment when you do the steps. I promise you, when you go on that appointment, the first step is not to get hired. Anybody want to guess what the first step is?
Develop a rapport.
I'll take it. Develop a relationship. By the way, rapport is the first step of a relationship. So, develop a relationship. That's the first step right there. So when you develop that relationship, then you provide them value and you contribute to them systematically, then you'll be in a position so that you will be able to have the opportunity to be able to get the listing. But it's not about going and asking for the listing unless they're ready to hire you. It's about going to solicit the relationship. And the first step of a relationship is rapport. And for those of you that aren't really super familiar with the rapport, it's the first step of the CPI communication model. So I'll map that out here for you real quick, which is build rapport, ask adept questions, and actively listen. So when you're creating those relationships, this is the pathway to a relationship. This is the pathway for the people that you meet this week and next. Build rapport. What is rapport? Rapport is a connectivity. Think about like two professional dancers entering into a ballroom. They never met each other ever before. And they start to dance and they don't touch each other. And one puts their shoulder in this way and the other takes their shoulder out that way. And they dance in unison. How can they do that? They do that because they're connected. They do that because there's an energetic connection. That is what rapport is. How do you know when you're in rapport?
You feel it?
When you can feel it. Thank you, Minnie. When you can feel it. That's how you know you have rapport. And then asking adept questions. So when you're in rapport, you'll have the permission to ask deeper adept questions than when you're not in rapport. Because if you're not in rapport, you're not going to have the opportunity to find out truly what their motivation is. I went on a listing appointment about 3 weeks ago, and I clearly was not in rapport with this lady, because when I asked her, I'm sitting at her table, and this was a little bit unusual because typically I already have all this information before I'm sitting in front of somebody. Yet this person was very, very closed down. So I had to go a little bit outside of what I normally do in the steps. And I met with her, and she wasn't really that well qualified because she was not willing to have a conversation with me before we met. And so we went and I met with her, and I go back to what I would normally do on the telephone before we even start getting into relationship. And I ask her the, ordinarily qualifying questions such as, well, what's your, what's causing you to want to sell your house? And when I said that to her, she shut me down in a second. She said to me, she says, what right do you have to ask me that? And I realized, like, holy goodness, I'm not in rapport. And so I had to backtrack to be able to say, wait, I have to gain rapport so that I could be connected with her, which I did. So it was understanding at that moment, where am I? What result do I want from that appointment? I want to get hired. Okay. But where am I? I thought I was here where I could start asking her adept questions, but guess what? I wasn't in rapport. So I skipped a step. I thought I was in rapport, but I wasn't. I thought I felt it. Maybe I was just hungry or something. I don't know. Right. But that's the way that you have to understand there, step by step by step. Now, again, this is high level type stuff. So when you go into your portal today, you're going to get that email in a few minutes. You're going to be invited to select one of those 3 tactics. And then you're going to be given explicit directions on what to do. I'm going to ask for you to follow those directions, because if you don't follow those directions, you're wasting your time. And I say that lovingly. Okay. But what I want from you is I want you to have results this week. And yes, I'm going to give you high level thinking in this conversation, but in the portal, you're going to have specific training. Do A, B, do C, do D. And when you do those steps, you're going to produce a result. And the result that you're going to produce is going to be closer to a listing opportunity than where you are today. Are you guys okay with that? To follow that? Yes, yes, yes. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Yes. All right. Fantastic. So when you receive that email, it's going to have a display, and we're going to give out some prizes this week. So prize number one, we're going to give out each day starting tomorrow for the next 3 days. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it comes in this nice little gift box. And I'm not even going to open it today. It's going to be a surprise. I get to see it, but you guys don't. So I'm looking at it right now. Woo. But tomorrow I'll open up this box and I'll give you a surprise for one person. To qualify, you have to post on the Consistent Predictable Income for Real Estate Agent CPI private Facebook group. And what I'm going to ask for you to promise or to post there is your promise of, no, it's not a pizza, is the promise of your commitment, not your commitment to me, your commitment to yourself to show up and do the work all 5 days. Now, if you're not able to show up, that's okay. Some of you have told me before, you could this will be available to you on demand. And if you're watching this on demand right now, don't fret, because every first Friday of the month, we offer these drawings on the CPI live training, which is at 12:30 Eastern time on the Facebook group, Consistent Predictable Income Facebook group. And so don't fret if you're watching this on demand. But if you're watching this live tomorrow, we're going to go ahead and give away a goodie to someone who qualifies by posting onto the Facebook group your promise, if you're going to participate all 5 days live, or if you're going to participate all 5 days. And there's 2 different JPEGs on there that will show up, so that you're either going to do the work or you're going to do the work and show up, and either promise is acceptable. And post your promise and tag a friend on the Facebook group. And when you do that, you'll be entering to win a prize. Those that attend all 5 days, that participate all 5 days and post onto the group all 5 days will be entered into win at the last day. You'll have the opportunity to win a 45-minute coaching conversation with me. We're giving away 2 of those, and we're giving away for the grand prize for somebody to be interviewed on the Consistent and Predictable Income for Real Estate Agent podcast. So we get about 3,000 downloads of that a week. So it's a very popular show. I invite for you to check it out and listen to it. That's Consistent Predictable Income for Real Estate Agents podcast. There's a new episode every single day. And one of you lucky winners will be my guest on that if you're interested. So that's your assignment for the day. Your daily mission will show up in your portal. And I want to thank everybody for, and I understand if you have a CE class, that's okay. Just promise that you'll do the work and watch it on demand. So thank you everybody for joining me today. And I hope to be a resource for you. I'll see you promptly tomorrow. Go do your daily mission and let's knock it out of the park. I'll see you guys soon.